What's going on, YouTube? So amid a very crowded compact crossover segment, the Nissan Rogue has been a long-standing favorite pick for many.
Which is why we spent the past week with the latest 2026 model, which has some changes this year.
And it also has a big price drop. So does that mean this is the compact SUV to put in your driveway? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's get today's review started under the hood with our spec dump. So the Rogue continues to be available with just one engine option. It's a 1.5 liter turbocharged variable compression 3-cylinder engine. It makes 201 horsepower. It's paired to a continuously variable transmission, and with all-wheel drive, it gets 31 mpg combined.
Now the base price is sitting at $28,000, which does represent a price decrease on almost every single version of the Rogue this year. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, this is a real-world review, so we have a lot of impressions to share after living with it, our real-world fuel economy, and at the end we'll discuss resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the exterior as well as the interior. So to start the exterior tour here, I want to mention a 2026 change right from the top. Now we have a new trim called the SV Dark Armor. So as the name implies, that is a package basically that is added now to the SV trim level, kind of the heart of the Rogue lineup. And this is going to black out a lot of elements to the overall exterior design, as well as add some different features in the vehicle all around. Now, in terms of what you get on the rest of the Rogue lineup, well, you're going to get that signature V-Motion grille. Nissan updated this a couple years ago. You have a lot of chrome here because we have the Platinum trim level today and some accenting down at the bottom for a more premium look. As far as our lighting is concerned, all models will get standard reflector LED headlights for both low and high beam. These are good at night. They definitely light up pretty well despite not being projector LEDs. And then up here at the top, the upper end trims will get the LED turn signal and daytime running light. And then as we move around to the back, well, it's got that Rogue look. I don't know, even the previous generation kind of had that same design. It definitely is their signature look.
Yeah, and I think it looks overall pretty good. Now, we have a spoiler up here at the top, a wiper through the center section. All of our Rogue branding is going to kind of be in a grayish color. And let's take a look at our taillights. So our taillights, we have a LED brake light, an incandescent reverse light, and an incandescent turn signal indicator. So I'm kind of wishing that we had a full LED taillight, especially for this fully loaded Platinum model. But as we drop down to the lower area, this is piano black and a little bit of chrome. It looks nice. No exposed exhaust outlets, and you can tow 1,500 pounds on this model.
Moving on to the wheels, they vary in size from 17 to 19-inch alloys. This being a Platinum, of course, you have got the 19-inch alloy with a special contrast design and a gray finish in the center. I think these wheels look really nice overall, especially with this champagne paint color, and also the fact that only the Platinum gets the gloss black wheel surrounds and lower body elements instead of a matte black finish. That same gloss black will be up here on the mirrors as well, where you'll find standard blind spot monitoring on all trims and heating on all but the base trim.
Now, the Rogue's overall vehicle length is 183 inches, and in terms of design, we have a little bit of chrome at the upper window surrounds, and then we also have a blacked out roof. That is available on the SL and Platinum grades. You can get it on 5 different exterior colors. I think it looks really good here, especially with the chrome roof rail up top. Now, I also want to point out that new SV Dark Armor trim level is going to black out certain elements here at the side, as well as give you unique 19-inch blacked out wheels. Now, for safety systems, Nissan gives you most of those as standard equipment. You have 2 out of 4 active safety features on every trim level, and really the vast majority are going to have all of them as standard equipment. And additionally, you can option on to the Platinum grade ProPilot 2.1, which is actually a hands-free driving system. So that actually makes this one of the only vehicles for a relatively affordable price point that you can get the hands-free system. We found that to work pretty well this week. But guys, there's a really lovely interior with a lot of luxury goodies on the inside. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Now, before we move on to the rest of the video, a lot of you guys may know that we have a long-term 2025 Toyota Camry. And while we love most things about it, we did not love the floor mats it came with. That's why we want to take a second to tell you about our new floor mats from Lasefit.
They have some of the best floor mats for a wide selection of almost any car brand, make, model, or year. Of course, they have them for brands like Toyota, but they additionally have them for other popular brands like Honda, Ram, and Ford, just to name a few. That wide vehicle selection ensures you'll be protected by Lasefit, regardless of your vehicle preference.
One of the things that we like is that they focus on getting new mats out for the latest and greatest cars very quickly. You know, on our channel, we're always driving the latest and greatest cars, and that means that we can stay protected with their mats for even the latest vehicles on the market, like the 2025 Toyota 4Runner, the 2026 Honda Passport, and 2026 Honda CR-V. Those vehicles are just now hitting the lots, but of course, if you already own one, you want to be protected right from the start.
Their mats have other advantages over the factory mats as well, like the TPE material they're made from. This high-quality material is not as flimsy as rubber, but also not as rigid as polyethylene. This makes the mats easy to install and durable enough to withstand long-term use without yellowing or hardening. If you're like us, you appreciate a clean car, so when you inevitably get the mats dirty, cleaning them is as easy as just rinsing with water. That's very convenient for our busy schedules, and who doesn't need extra time? So if you're ready to snag a set of these Lasefit floor mats to protect your precious ride, whatever that may be, use code AUGD1 to save money on the Lasefit website. A link is provided in the video description. Now it's time to get back to the video.
Now let's move on to the inside. Here's the key fob. It's the newest Nissan fob. You have standard smart entry and remote start on all but the base trim. Getting inside the vehicle, no sensor behind the handle, so just press that button right there. That will unlock the door. And then welcome inside the interior of the Platinum Rogue. So there are some special touches, obviously, for the Platinum Duty. We'll talk about that more in a little bit, but I want to start off by talking about the seats. So basically you have several different versions that you can work your way up through. You start with cloth seats, you move to leatherette, then you have a real leather on the SL, and then finally you reach the pinnacle. That is the quilted semi-aniline leather here on the Platinum trim. That is an unusually high-grade type of leather to have in a compact crossover, and you can certainly tell this is definitely very luxurious compared to a lot of the rivals. Nice quilted design here. The seats themselves are super comfortable as well, so really a standout feature of the interior. In terms of the adjustments, you have a power adjusting seat. We have two-way lumbar support. You also will find memory seats on your upper end examples. And let's climb on inside. And let's look around at the rest of the materials. Over here on the door trim, we have a nice leatherette with a stitching detail that will continue all through here as well. And we have a soft touch plastic at the top. Moving to the upper dash, all this is a soft touch plastic, even way up here. Leatherette finishes the center section with the stitching detail. The Platinum trim gives you this faux wood detailing that runs through here. They actually have textured it so that it feels and looks pretty realistic. It classes up the cabin a little bit, and then we also have more of that going through here with a textured gloss black through the center section. Everything in here fits together very solidly. And honestly, this is nicer than average for the segment. Even though this is an older product, the cabin has really aged quite gracefully. Let's fire it up with the push button start. Let's jump into some details. Here's the gauge cluster. First of all, it's the 12.3-inch gauge cluster. It is the most premium version that you can get. Lower trims get a smaller 7-inch display instead, and you can reconfigure it with some different designs, including this one, which gives you kind of your media is the main thing. You can also put the map display in here as well. There we go. Took me a second to get there, but there is the map display. All right, we have a head-up display up top that is optional on the top Platinum trim level, and it is a good display. It's got a lot of different types of information inside of it, and it's nice and crisp as well. As we come back to the steering wheel, we have the latest Nissan design here. Flat bottom look to this, kind of squared off with the new Nissan logo. Plenty of buttons. It's manual, tilt, and telescoping. We also have the little sensor up top there. That's part of that more premium ProPilot Assist 2.1. Now, as we turn over here to our center cubby, let's open it up. It's got the butterfly opening, and inside you'll find lots of donuts. That's because the donut is our logo after all, so we like to load them into the console and check how it compares to the competition. Today we've got 11 donuts inside, which is not quite the dozen required to pass, but it is pretty good. And I say pretty good also with the idea that there's a lot more storage besides for that. So you've got your 2 cup holders, big old area up here, which is a wireless phone charging pad on most models, and then a giant center pass-through. This is where you can really stick a lot of different types of random objects that you might come across in your day-to-day life. Now the shifter is a electronic style. It doesn't take up much space. Just pull back for drive. You can bump back once more if you want to do simulated gear changes with the paddle shifters. Pressing up in the opposite direction will bring up the 360-degree around view camera system. You've got a few different views you can choose from right there. The resolution is overall pretty good for this segment, and this is included on the SV Dark Armor trim and above as standard equipment. So that's about half of the trim levels will get this as standard. Press the P there for park. You also have your electronic parking brake with brake hold located behind that, and then a very prominent drive mode controller. Moving on to the climate controls next, you got 3 different arrangements of climate actually. So the base model has a manual climate setup. The middle trims have a dual zone setup, automatic, and this has the 3-zone automatic setup. So that's by itself is very uncommon actually for the segment to be able to set those temperatures separately, and you can do that actually from the front as well with these dedicated buttons. Now we also have heated seats located right over here, but you'll notice even though we got the Platinum, we have something missing right there, and that's ventilated seats are not available still on the Rogue. This loan happened to time out with some pretty hot weather. It's been in the 90s, and those were missed this week. I will definitely say that, and many of the competitors do have that as an option. Now, as we move up, we'll come to the volume knob and our audio systems. So just the top-end Platinum will come with a Bose sound system. The other models will get slightly less speakers, and let's give that a sample right now. Pretty good. This is definitely a very punchy sounding sound system, as is typical with Bose. Many of the rivals also have Bose sound systems. They tend to be a little bit more bass heavy. It's very punchy, but it does have a notable improvement, I think, over the standard sound system that you have on the Rogue trim levels. All right, let's zero in now with our display and our main infotainment system. So there's going to be a couple different options here. You get the premium 12.3-inch display if you choose the SL or the Platinum trim levels. The other models will get a smaller display. It is 8 inches. Now, this system here also has Google Apps built in. So what that means is you'll have things like Google Maps right here natively inside the system without having to run wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which, by the way, are also included. You also have things like Google Assistant inside, and then you have some different applications that you can go over. The performance of this, it has some kind of complex graphics, but overall we didn't have any problems with it this week. Up top, we have an auto-dimming mirror. It doesn't have the HomeLink remotes built into it, but you have the MyQ system inside the infotainment system if you have a compatible garage door to that. And then let me slide back the sunshade here for our sunroof. This is a panoramic style here on the Platinum trim level. This is also available on lower trims as well, and the front panel opens up.
So let's talk about the rear seat area of the Rogue. Now, before we even get to the rear seat, I want to point out the rear door. They basically open at 90 degrees, so that's certainly going to help getting in really easily, as well as if you're loading in a car seat or whatever. That would be a lot nicer than some of the competition. Now, let's also talk about the rear seat area of this model and how much space you're going to find. So we're sitting at 38.5 inches of legroom and about 39 inches of headroom. Those are pretty good figures for this segment. It's not going to be the largest option. Things like the CR-V will be bigger than this, but it's a good amount of space for this segment. Now, of course, I brought along the official Car Confections ruler. That's so we can get our realistic knee room figure. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9", and we're looking at a very good 9 inches of rear legroom. My feet can also slide up underneath of these seats, and as you can see, these seats are reclined a pretty good distance to maximize your comfort. They don't quite recline as much as the CR-V though. If we fold down the center armrest, we have 2 cup holders inside, and let's talk about some of the other features. So rear vents are actually standard on all versions of the Rogue, so that's nice. And then down below, since we have the 3-zone climate, we actually have our own climate panel back here, 2 USB-C ports, and we're additionally going to have heated back seats. So actually last year, so for 2025, this used to be included in the premium or the Platinum Premium package. That's actually now standard equipment for 2026 as a $0 option, and that's going to give you those heated back seats. Now over here on the door trim, you'll find another pretty uncommon rear feature, the rear window sunshades. You typically don't find that in this segment. We additionally have leatherette all through the center section, although the upper part is hard touch. And then down at the very bottom, we have some bottle storage. Walking up to the tailgate, of course, we have a hands-free power tailgate on this fully loaded example. And let's talk about the overall cargo space figures that you will find in this model. Once again, it's going to be pretty good for this segment, not necessarily class leading, but very good overall. About 32 cubic feet behind the second row of seats and 74 cubic feet as a maximum. That is, like I said, pretty darn good. Now, we also have handles here in the cargo area to fold those seats down, which is another thing that's pretty uncommon in this segment, and that'll give you the full 74 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Now, if you're curious as to how this ranks against its numerous rivals, this is a very competitive segment. We'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. There, we've looked at all the compact SUVs for sale and ranked them in the 10 most important categories to this shopper. Things like cargo capacity, interior luxury, technology, powertrain choices, safety, and reliability are all detailed there for you, so you can identify some of your best options. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, definitely use our website, carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, back to this cargo area, you'll notice that the seats do fold 60-40 split, and they are completely flat with the floor. From behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, we are looking at 72 inches of overall cargo length. From behind the second row of seats, about 34 inches of length. Overall opening is a little over 43 inches, and then height comes in at 31 inches. That's also pretty good. Let's get our load-in height as well. That's about 30 inches tall. Now, underneath of the floor, you will notice that you have the ability to do the divide and hide. There's a lot of customizations that you can do with that, and there's a little bit of underfloor storage. Underneath of that is a spare tire, which is also becoming pretty uncommon in this segment. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot. As you can see on the screen right now, we'll be getting our official Kentucky sound level reading, as well as discussing our real-world fuel economy. But first, we have to start with that hard acceleration.
All right, there is the acceleration to 60 miles per hour. Overall, not bad at all. As we mentioned at the beginning with the spec dump, there's just one powertrain on the Rogue. So a lot of the competition, they've give you a few different options. This doesn't yet have a hybrid. So for now, you have the 1.5 liter turbocharged and variable compression 3-cylinder. So, yes, it is a 3-cylinder, but there are some rivals that also have 3 cylinders as well. And power is still plentiful. It's 201 horsepower, 225 pound-feet of torque. So that is decent, definitely for a standard engine. Many of the rivals have less power. And one of the things which we'll talk about later on, of course, with the fuel economy, is that Nissan says this is the best non-hybrid fuel economy in the segment.
Yeah. And really, guys, I mean, we have lived with this Rogue plenty of times, actually, since it switched from, the 4-cylinder down to the 3-cylinder, and this engine is not a bad engine. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be concerned about potential reliability with a variable compression 3-cylinder, but as far as performance is concerned, I think you'll actually be pleasantly surprised. It really has enough torque to get you around. It does not feel weak at all, and really the noise of it, I honestly think, is a lot more refined sounding than some of the rivals. Like a base RAV4 is really loud. This is not that bad.
Definitely not. And the Mitsubishi Outlander is a sibling product to this, and it stuck with the old powertrain. And we drove that not too long ago, like a few months ago. It was a good reminder that this definitely has a lot of performance benefits over that powertrain. Now, another thing that has seen a lot of improvements over the years is the continuously variable transmission. So what Nissan has done is basically integrate in kind of more and more aggressive D-step technology, and what that is a shift simulation. At this point, it's really very realistic. I think a lot of people, that are buying Rogues, if you don't follow cars that closely, you might not even know that this has a continuously variable transmission. It just kind of seems like it goes through regular gears nice and smoothly. It's also very responsive as well, so you just don't get that drone like you used to back, in the day when Nissan and other manufacturers were first starting to do CVTs, and you accelerate hard and it just drones and drones and drones and drones. This doesn't have that, which is definitely a good thing.
Yeah. Now, as far as how power is routed to the ground, you have standard front-wheel drive or optional all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is standard on a few versions like the Rock Creek as well as this Platinum. And as far as actual EPA estimated fuel economy figures, we'll just quickly hit those. Those are sitting at 32 with front-wheel drive, 31 mpg with all-wheel drive, and the Rock Creek is about 29 mpg. We will discuss our real-world fuel economy in just a second. But of course, we need to talk about ride quality, and I think that is an area where this Rogue really continued to shine throughout the week that we had this vehicle. The ride quality, really great. That's a big element for a compact SUV like this. A lot of families are going to be taking these on road trips, and it does a great job of soaking up really all but the largest road imperfections. And I have to say, these seats are absolutely fantastic. The Nissan Zero Gravity seats, the semi-allen leather, they really are just super comfortable. So we've had no complaints with this vehicle when it comes to driving it. It really is a pleasurable experience. Yes, it's not sporty, but it is very, very comfortable. Let's get our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. Wow. That is very good. 52.8 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level rating in this 26 Nissan Rogue Platinum. Now, we don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to its compact SUV rivals. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. Well, guys, believe it or not, I think that actually takes the cake as the quietest compact SUV that we have tested on the channel. That certainly is a very impressive. The low 50 decibel range is really something that we typically see only reserved for luxury vehicles. So to be sitting at that is really quite impressive. Now, there are some rivals that are close to that, like the Kia Sportage and the Mitsubishi Outlander. That also tested really quiet. And our previous 2024 Rogue Platinum that we had also was a little bit louder, but we have a special note in there that it was raining during our sample. So I guess that goes to show you that this Rogue Platinum is a really quiet option. But without further ado, what's our real-world fuel economy after living with this model? Well, during the course of this week, we drove about 120 miles, and all of that driving was in the city, so I do want to point that out. It's important to note that it was city driving, not combined driving, and what we were sitting at is our average fuel economy, 28.6 mpg. So, honestly, that is really good fuel economy, especially when you consider that it's just the city. The EPA actually says that the city rating is 28 mpg, MPG, so we're slightly outperforming that EPA estimate, and this is already, you know, one of the highest rated, like Drew said, non-hybrids in the segment. I believe it is the highest rated non-hybrid in the segment. So yes, you're not going to be getting the 40 MPG that you get in a RAV4 hybrid or a CRV hybrid, but this standard, you know, just straight gas option still gets really good fuel economy. All right, so let's get into our slam dunk and airball, our favorite and least favorite element. I'll kick us off with the slam dunk and just say the 2026 enhancements and the overall value that you're finding on this platinum grade. Now, when it comes to 26 enhancements, we haven't talked about the pricing just yet, but I will point out that this model, as compared to the 2025, is about nearly $4,000 less expensive. So you're getting a lot of value, especially if you unselect the ProPilot package for like $3,200. You'd be sitting at right around 40 grand for this platinum, and you get a ton of standard equipment at that price point.
Yeah, and on the airball side of things, we're just going to say it doesn't offer a hybrid. Really all the main competition, we can say at this point, has an available hybrid, and I think Nissan is just missing out on those customers that want above 40 miles per gallon.
And do we like it better, the same, or worse after living with it this week? Well, I have to say, all of us are in agreement. We like this Rogue better. Now, I know the Nissan brand is under flack in a lot of different facets. They get a lot of hate, but after living with this Rogue actually multiple times, we've been quite impressed with just how it integrates into our overall life. It has a lot of features, especially here on the Platinum grade, and a lot of merits that I think a lot of people kind of sleep on and just default to the Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. Now let's talk pricing for this 2026 Rogue. Why is that a big element for 2026? Well, because they have reduced the price on every version of the Rogue by a significant amount of money. So the base S is down about $500 this year. The SV is down $1,500 this year. The Rock Creek is around $2,000 less than last year. The SL around $1,000 less, and this Platinum is also around $1,000 less. But there's something worth noting. So this fully loaded example, like what we're looking at today, is sitting at around $45,000 with all the options. If you look at 2025 and how much that would have cost, it would have been about $48,500. So it's nearly $4,000 less than last year, and that's because they added extra standard packages as well as reduced that base price. So because of all of that, this Platinum fully loaded is a lot less expensive. So that's a big deal for you guys. Now, as far as where this vehicle is manufactured, this specific unit is made in Japan, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealer negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's discuss resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Nissan Rogue's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 50.56% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 16.43%. Now, it's worth noting those are right at the industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is going to be significantly lower than some of the main competition you may be looking at, such as Honda's CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, or Subaru Forester.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several reliability studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a holistic picture. In this regard, Nissan is rated just about right at the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you do have a pretty good warranty. So it's a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic setup, a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain setup, and Nissan does include 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. And guys, that wraps up our in-depth 7-day review of the 2026 Nissan Rogue Platinum. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and we also strive to cover the latest cars on the market, like this 2026 Rogue. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. Again, we'd like to thank Lay's Fit for protecting our Camry and sponsoring today's video.
And if you'd like to protect your precious ride, head over to laysfit.com and use code AUGD1 to save money.
A link is provided in the video description.